The mechanic who fixes cars managed to scam the world's richest investors out of 1 billion US dollars, which equals about 8,500 crores in Indian currency. He did this in a country like the United States without borrowing money or robbing a bank. Instead, he managed to pull off this entire scam by selling solar panels. His planning was so clever that even the biggest industrialists in the world fell into his trap. But what did he do that caught even the likes of Warren Buffett, one of the most famous investors, in his web? And how did his fraud finally get exposed? Welcome back to Global Facts Videos. Today we're talking about Jeff Karpoff, a 36-year-old man from California who started a business along with his mechanic partner. They worked together to earn a living for their children, but their business soon shut down and they were struggling to make ends meet. Jeff, who was obsessed with the idea of becoming rich, kept trying to do something to fulfill his dreams, but failure was always his companion. When his financial condition became dire, he even started selling drugs to feed his children. Slowly, his debts piled up, and paying rent and bills became a major challenge. Selling drugs didn't seem like a good long-term solution, so he started looking for a job. Eventually, he found work as a solar panel salesman. As a salesman, Jeff had the opportunity to meet with many people, and in doing so, he learned that although people were interested in buying solar panels, they were afraid that these panels might get stolen. This fear sparked an idea in Jeff's mind. He thought, why not create a way to keep solar panels safe? His plan was to fix solar panels to trucks or trailers, and after using them during the day, the trucks could be parked in secure locations at night. It was a great plan, but Jeff faced a major problem. He didn't have the technical know-how to make it work. So, he contacted his brother-in-law, who was a mechanic, and together they managed to create a mobile solar generator. It was a frame with tires on which solar panels were fixed. After use, the panels could be locked and stored in a secure place. At that time, portable diesel generators were also available in the market. However, Jeff didn't know how to compete with them or convince people to switch to solar generators. But luck was on his side when Watson, a software professional, started coming to their car repair shop. After learning about Jeff's invention, Watson offered to help him start a company, which they named DC Solar. Watson and his team also helped with marketing. Instead of targeting the general public first, they decided to go big and target Hollywood. At that time, movie sets used noisy diesel generators, which made the idea of using quiet, mobile solar generators an attractive alternative. Their plan was working, and soon, solar panels were being used on several major film sets. In 2009, a famous American actor and film producer even posted a picture of these solar panels. Next, Jeff continued networking and began attending business events where he talked about his company without hesitation. Slowly, he gained recognition and partnered with one of the world's biggest law firms, Nixon Peabody. During this time, the U.S. Congress passed a law increasing tax credits for companies purchasing solar panels by 3 times. This meant that any company that bought solar technology could get back 30% of their investment from the government. This was a major opportunity, and DC Solar used it to introduce a new offer. They promised that companies could buy solar panels from them by paying only 30% upfront and the remaining 70% in installments. The offer was so attractive that no one could resist. For example, if a company wanted to buy solar panels worth $100,000, they could pay $30,000 upfront, and the government would reimburse 30% of that amount, effectively making it possible to install mobile solar panels without spending much money. This win-win situation made DC Solar's business grow rapidly. In 2011, while Jeff was watching a baseball match, he received news that the famous paint company Sherwin-Williams had placed an order for 192 mobile solar generators worth $29 million. Along with that, an American bank also showed interest in working with DC Solar, believing that the demand for solar generators was rising. But as the business grew, problems started to emerge. The generators installed on movie sets began malfunctioning and shutting down repeatedly. This was inevitable because Jeff and his brother-in-law had no technical expertise. In fact, to cover up the issue, they started cutting corners. For instance, the solar panels for Sherwin-Williams were hastily assembled and many of them didn't work. However, Jeff continued to live a lavish lifestyle, buying new cars and a new house. Then, when the orders started to be delayed and clients refused to sign long-term leases, DC Solar couldn't pay its old investors or make the necessary lease payments. To keep the business afloat, Jeff and his team created a new scheme. They decided to use the payments from new investors to pay the returns of old ones. Meanwhile, Jeff was also using fake documents to claim tax credits, defrauding the government. To further deceive investors, Jeff started moving generators from one location to another to create the illusion of high demand. This made investors think that the business was thriving, and they continued to invest. By this method, Jeff even defrauded a shell company of $76 million. In 2014, the IRS started investigating DC Solar. Jeff's legal representatives managed to convince the IRS and avoid any serious consequences for a while. But things started to unravel when one of DC Solar's employees blew the whistle. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, began their investigation, leading to Jeff's arrest. It was revealed that Jeff had been running a Ponzi scheme under the guise of selling solar generators. He was using money from new investors to pay returns to old ones. Ponzi schemes can only last for a short period, and eventually they collapse when new investors stop coming in. In Jeff's case, once the new investments stopped, everything fell apart. Jeff had claimed to have manufactured 177,000 solar generators, but in reality, they only existed on paper. The GPS trackers shown to investors were not attached to any generators, but were buried in different locations. In November 2021, Jeff Karpoff was sentenced to prison, and several other individuals, including his wife, were also convicted. This was the story of how Jeff Karpoff and his company deceived investors, defrauded the government, and led a life of luxury while running a massive scam. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next amazing video.